Prabhu is going to be happen very soon. New Vrindavan Holy Dham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is a very wonderful, wonderful festival. Actually, here in New Vrindaban, it's probably one of the most happiest festivals for the devotees here in New Vrindaban. It's a very special. You know, every culture has a festival like this. Later this month, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. So this is a Thanksgiving festival. Many other cultures have this festival. In the Jewish religion, the Jewish tradition, Thanksgiving festival is called Sukkot. And what they do, because in ancient times, the harvesting was so vital, so important, that they would go out into the fields and they would, the people who were the farmers, they would live in the fields. They would even build a little hut for themselves. And so even today, during the Sukkot, this Thanksgiving festival of the Jewish people, they also go out of their homes. And nearby their homes, or maybe down the street, or even if they're living in an apartment, they might do it in the alleyway. They build a little structure for themselves. So for a week or so, they're not living in their homes. They're just like their ancestors who went out into the fields to make the harvest. They also have left their homes and their apartments, and they're living in some temporary dwelling. And so in the same mood, the Vaishnavas, they also create a little hill of Govardhan, and they circumambulate the Govardhan hill. Just like thousands and thousands of years ago, Krishna and the residents of Vrindaban, they also circumambulated the hill. The hill, of course, you know, if you go to Vrindaban, it's much, much longer. I think it's about a 12 or 14 mile circumambulation where you're going all around the hill. So here, it's not so difficult. It's a very easy journey to go around the hill. And actually, even Prabhupada, you know, I tell people this all the time, you may have heard it already, that I first came to New Vrindaban in 1972 for Janmashtami festival. At that time, New Vrindaban was not receiving many people. Prabhupada, he named this place New Vrindaban. And when I arrived in 1972, I had the honor of taking darshan of Prabhupada. And he was talking about New Vrindaban. And he was talking about Vrindaban in India. And he said that anyone who comes to New Vrindaban gets the same blessing as going all the way to Vrindaban in India. So Prabhupada shared this insight. And in those days, of course, nobody was coming, practically speaking. Now we're getting many thousands and thousands of visitors, just like in Vrindaban in India. And so one of the really unique things about this festival, you know that we have many festivals throughout the year. About a year ago, I was reading an article in the one magazine about different religious traditions. And they were mentioning, out of all the different religious traditions, the Hindu religion had the most festivals. And so this is a very important festival because all of the other festivals, you know, we have Janmashtami, we have the Rath Yatra parade, the Rath Yatra ceremony, so many different festivals. But this is the only festival that actually was created by Krishna himself. He created this festival, and he encouraged the residents of Vrindaban to remove their, and give up the idea of their old festival. The residents of Vrindaban were already engaged in preparing for a festival. But that festival was for King Indra, the king of the rain, the lord of the rains. And so at that time, you know, this story is very important because it takes place in a very crucial part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the ancient text that was spoken, actually the text, it was spoken 5,000 years ago, at the beginning of the Kali Yuga. The sages at that time, they went to Lord Brahma up in the heavens to inquire, well, the Kali Yuga is coming. What should we do to ward off the ill effects of the Kali Yuga? And so Brahma, he sent the discus. He said, follow my discus, and where it lands, there you should perform your yagnas, your sacrifices. And so the sages were prepared to perform 1,000-year sacrifice to ward off the ill effects of the Kali Yuga. And the discus of Brahma landed in northern India, in the forest of Namisharan. And so there the sages gathered together, and they were performing the fire yagna, the Agnihotra. And so during that time, one great sage visited that spot. His name was Sutta Goswami. And when Sutta Goswami came there, he was an elderly sage. And when he arrived, all of the other personalities stopped what they were doing. And they stood up in respect, and they offered a seat to Sutta Goswami. And they asked him, my dear sir, you've been traveling all over this world. You have studied with the greatest scholars and the greatest yogis and the greatest philosophers. Please, for our benefit and for the benefit of the citizens of the Kali Yuga, please tell us what is the essence of all that you have learned. And so this is the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as the Bhagavat Purana. And at that time, you know, the Bhagavat Purana refers to itself as the literary incarnation of God. And so, you know, every story, if you have a good story, you need some good conflict. What is the conflict in this story? So the conflict has been established that the Kali Yuga is coming. It's going to be a horrible, horrible age. What can we do to alleviate some of the misery of the residents of the Kali Yuga coming up in the future? And so this is every story has to have a problem. So this is a very severe problem. But you know what? Even though the sages, they were well-intended, but the sages were misguided. They were performing the Agnihotra. That was not the real process of awakening, self-realization in the Kali Yuga. No, so even though they were well-intended, they did not have the real process. But when Sutta Goswami came there, he provided the real process. And the entire book of Srimad Bhagavatam is 12 cantos. So the cantos are gradually unfolding the various pastimes of the Supreme Lord, the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, the devotees of the Supreme Lord. This is the required activity in the Kali Yuga, to hear about the Supreme Lord and the devotees of the Supreme Lord. This is explained in the 7th canto, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, that we have to hear, we have to chant, or glorify the name of Krishna, and we have to remember Krishna. So this is explained. So, in every book, there's a point where you come to what is called the climax. This is the most important point in the book. And so, as we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, the different cantos are helping us to become purified, are helping us to wash away all of the sinful activities of the heart, so we can prepare ourselves for the knowledge that is found in the 10th canto. This is the most important canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that 10th canto is the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, how he manifests in this world, and how he behaves. And this story of Govardhan Hill is a very essential story. And one thing about this story, this story, besides being a ceremony, a holiday created by Krishna himself, this also is a story about a man who feels neglected. In our lives, some part of our lives, we feel that we've been neglected. Maybe we're busy earning money for the family, but the family doesn't appreciate it so much. Or maybe we're working very hard day and night in our company, but the boss and the other people in the company don't appreciate the hard work that I'm putting in. So somewhere along the line, we each have our own personal example that yes, somehow or other, I feel neglected. But as humble human beings, it is not such an important thing. But if you have great power, if you have great authority, and you have great strength, and you feel neglected, then you can wreak havoc amongst the people who are lower than you. And this is exactly what happened in this story of Govardhan Hill. Because the residents of Vrindaban, they're undergoing great, getting ready. They're getting ready for a great festival. They're running around town collecting all of the different articles for the festival. There's such a great hubbub in the village of Vrindaban. And Krishna is watching everyone running here and there. And he's wondering, what's going on? He's 7 years old. And he asks his father, Pita, please tell me, what's going on over here? Why is there's such a great commotion? Everybody seems to be so busy. What's going on? And so Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, he's a little bit taken aback. His son is only 7 years old. He doesn't even know if he can explain properly the dynamics of what's going on. So he can't offer a word of explanation. But Krishna keeps pushing him. Krishna says, my dear father, tell me, between family members, there's no secrets. Why can't you explain this festival to me? Is it a Vedic festival? A traditional Vedic festival? Or maybe it's just some village event. It's a traditional village ceremony. Or is it a big Vedic ceremony? And so finally, Nanda Maharaj brings himself to give an explanation to his son, Krishna. And he said, my dear child, This ceremony is honoring King Indra. King Indra is the Lord of the rain and the water. When the rain is coming, it's very auspicious for all of us because we need rain. We need rain to grow the grains and the fruits and the vegetables, and we need water to quench our thirst. We need water to clean ourselves. We need water to cook with, cooking the rice. We need the water to grow the fruits and the vegetables. We need the waters in so many different ways. You know, water is such a strange thing, such a strange element. It's liquidy. We can wash with it. But if the water becomes too hot, you know, if you cook the water, then it turns into vapor. And if you freeze the water, then it turns into hard as a rock, turns into ice. So water is very extraordinary. And so Nanda Maharaj is trying to explain to his son the importance of water in society. But, you know, Krishna is not buying it. Krishna is telling his father, you know, out in the middle of the ocean, nobody's out there worshiping King Indra. The water, the rain is also falling out in the middle of the ocean. And high up in the mountains, nobody lives up there worshiping King Indra. But still, the water is falling. Sometimes it falls as water, sometimes it's coming as snow, and it lodges on the mountains. So this is a very interesting phenomena. We may not need all of the water at one time. So this is the way of nature, that high up in the mountains, the water is falling as snow, and it freezes up in the mountains. And at a certain time of year, when it gets hotter, then the water turns into, the snow turns into liquid, and it comes running down through the valleys in the form of rivers. And then we can also use the water at that time. So there's many great rivers in India and also around the world. The Ganges and the Jamuna, the Sindhu River Valley, the Mississippi River Valley, the Amazon and the Nile rivers. There's so many extraordinary rivers all over the world where the water is coming down to help the citizens. And so Krishna is telling his father, there's no need. The water is going to come anyways. It doesn't require that we worship Indra. And he says, you know what? What's better than worshiping Indra? Because Indra is so far, far away. We have nothing to do with Indra. We're simple country folks. We're not interested in the big cultures and the big cities. What we're interested in and what we're connected to is our land and Govardhan Hill. And we're connected to the cows. And we're connected to the local Brahmins. So let us not worship Indra. Let us worship the land in the form of Govardhan Hill. Because Govardhan Hill has so many sweet grasses. And when the cows are eating on Govardhan Hill the grasses, those sweet grasses take the form, the cows eat those grasses, and then deliver sweet milk for all of us to consume. And also, there are many natural nutrients and minerals on Govardhan Hill. Some of these nutrients and minerals are also a way of medicines that we can use and we can heal ourselves. And so Krishna is giving a very, very practical example of why we should worship Govardhan Hill, we should worship the land, we should worship the cows, we should also worship the Brahmins, the local Brahmins. He's making his case. finally, Nanda Maharaj tells his son, you know what, don't worry, just be calm. We're going to abide by your instructions. First, let us finish this sacrifice for King Indra, and then shortly later on, then we'll have your wonderful ceremony. But you know what? Krishna doesn't fall for that. He's very determined, very insistent. He's only 7 years old. And if you have any children who are 6 or 7 years old, sometimes you see how determined and insistent they can be. So Krishna, he doesn't fall for it. He says, no, we need to, whatever you've collected in the way of articles for your sacrifice, we have to use all of these articles for our sacrifice to Govardhan Hill. And Krishna, he gives the ingredients. He tells the residents what this festival is going to be about. And for thousands of years now, we've been following the same guidance that has been brought down generation after generation by Krishna himself. So Krishna, he tells the residents, you need to cook so many different preparations. You need to cook rice and dal and halava and puris and gulab-jamins and rasgullas. So many wonderful things. You need to have an abundance of food. This is called anukut. Anukut means you make a mountains of foodstuffs, and you must feed everyone. You must feed the cows and the cats and the dogs and the animals. You must feed yourself and your family sumptuously. Everyone has to be fed to their full satisfaction. And so, this was Krishna's first instruction. And then he told the residents, I want you all to decorate the cows very nicely. And also decorate yourselves very nicely. Put on your best clothing. And then get the carts out. And take the carts, put the oxen on the carts, and we'll make a little parade around Govardhan Hill. And the Brahmins can chant the Vedic mantras, and we can all have a great time. We'll go around Govardhan Hill, and everyone can be happy. The ladies and the elderly, they can sit in the carts that are drawn by the oxen. And then we'll come to the end of our parade, and we'll have a big feast. And so this was going on. But you know, Krishna in his instructions to the residents of Vrindaban, he also warned them that you must follow my instructions perfectly. Because if you don't worship Govardhan Hill, you know what's going to happen? There's some poisonous snakes that live on Govardhan Hill. And if you don't worship the hill properly, these snakes will come and bite you. And they might even kill you. So Krishna is giving a little bit of a warning. But this is all good intentions. It's all a lot of great fun to worship the hill and worship the cows and get dressed up and have a wonderful feast. So these things are all laid out by Krishna himself on how to properly honor and worship Govardhan Hill. And when they sit down finally at the end of the parade, when they prepare to take prasad, Krishna all of a sudden manifests himself as the hill, as the personality of the hill. So you have to see, there's also Krishna as the 7-year-old boy, he's still there. But then he also manifests himself simultaneously as Govardhan Hill. And there's so many preps, there's mountains and mountains of preps, different preparations that the residents have made. And now Krishna, as Govardhan Hill, he's eating up these different preparations. But, they didn't make enough. What does Krishna call out? What Govardhan Hill, what does he call out? Anayor, Anayor. Louder. Anayor, give me more. Krishna is not satisfied. He wants more. But what does he want more of? He wants more of our devotion. He wants more of our loving exchanges. This is the vital factor Prabhupada talks about. The essence of the Hare Krishna movement is love and trust. That's what he talks about. The Hare Krishna movement is based on love, loving exchanges. Can we trust one another? Can we love one another? This is the essence of spiritual life. The essence of spiritual life within the family. The essence of spiritual life offering to the deities in the temple. And the essence of spiritual life in the community. This is the foundation. And so this is what we're all looking for. This type of loving and trusting relationships and exchanges. And so Krishna, when he says, Anayor, yes, he wants more of these loving and trusting exchanges. He wants more devotion from us. And so Krishna is calling out. And everyone is so happy. Except for one person. Who is that one person that's not very happy about all of this? Yes, King Indra. He's looking down from the heavens and seeing what's going on. And he's getting angrier and angrier by the moment. He's trembling with rage. King Indra, he feels neglected. And when a powerful man feels neglected, he can wreak havoc. And so what does he do? He calls for the clouds. He's in charge of all of the clouds. And he has an arsenal of weapons, just like you have bombs. So there's different types of bombs. Some of the bombs, they're very small bombs. If you drop them out of the airplane, maybe they'll make a little crater. Other bombs are a little bigger. Some bombs, if you drop them out of the airplane, then they'll destroy a house. Some other bigger bombs will destroy a village. Some big bombs will even destroy a city. We have experience of all of these different types of bombs in this world. And Prabhupada is enraged. Why are people death is already existing. Why do people have to use their intelligence to create more instruments of death? Why don't we utilize our intelligence on how to benefit others? How to benefit society? So Prabhupada, he's enraged that people are utilizing their intelligence in a perverted way. No, we don't want to create the bombs. We don't want to create such horrible instruments of destruction. People are using these instruments of destruction. And Prabhupada is crying out in rage. And so, Indra, his biggest weapon, his biggest bomb is the Sambantarka cloud. He's going to use that. He's looking down on the little village of Vrindaban and he's enraged. He's saying, look at these villagers, these impudent villagers. They're listening to this little child, this talkative little child. We have to punish them. We have to wipe the village of Vrindaban off the face of the earth. And so he calls upon his biggest weapon, his biggest bombs, the Sambantarka clouds. And these clouds are used at the time of the ultimate devastation of the material world. So anyways, the clouds come forward into the presence of King Indra, and he tells them, go and destroy the village of Vrindaban. You know what? The clouds, they're all trembling. They don't have a good feeling about this. They plead with Indra, please, don't make us do this. It doesn't feel right. And why should we kill these innocent people? Why do we need to wipe their village off the face of the earth? This doesn't sound right. Please, don't make us do it. But King Indra is persistent. And he says, don't worry, you go, I'll take care of everything, I'll join you, I'll ride my elephant into battle, and with my, King Indra is the Lord of the Thunderbolt. And he said, don't worry, I'll throw my thunderbolt upon the face of Vrindaban, and I'll help you with this. Don't worry about a thing. So King Indra is confident, and the clouds, okay, they feel a little better about this, that King Indra will join them. So this is the great challenge now for the clouds, just to destroy this little village. And the clouds are coming in, they're moving in from all directions. And it starts to rain and rain. And there's a huge downpour of rain, and the sky is covered with the clouds. And there's a huge deluge of rain, and after a little while, you can't even see the ground anymore. And the citizens of Vrindaban, the villagers are all very worried. And they run to Krishna. He's only a 7-year-old child, but they take shelter of Krishna. Please, Krishna, help us. What's going to happen? We've angered King Indra. And so Krishna says, don't worry about a thing. And he takes Govardhan Hill with his left hand, and he lifts up the hill. He's only 7 years old. And it's explained that he lifts up this hill just like a child. If a child was wandering through the forest, and he sees a nice flower, or maybe he sees a mushroom, and he plucks up the flower and the mushroom. So the child, there's no big effort for a child to pluck up a little flower, or to pluck up a mushroom. What is a great effort? So in the same way, Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill, and he's holding up the hill. And all of the residents of Vrindaban, they gather beneath the hill, and all of the cows, and everyone is sitting there in great happiness. And for 7 days and 7 nights, guess what? People are sitting underneath the hill in great comfort. They don't feel any hunger. They don't feel any thirst. They don't feel any fatigue. No, they're just so happy watching Krishna holding up Govardhan Hill. Except for one person. One person is very concerned. That's Krishna's mother. And she's constantly saying to Krishna, Krishna, please eat something. You haven't eaten anything. Let me feed you something. Oh, Krishna, please, you're holding up the hill now for so long. Why don't you allow some of your friends? And all of the other cowherd friends, they have their cowherd sticks. When they go out in the pasture and they're tending the cows, and they bring their sticks, they pluck the cow this way, they push the cow that way with their sticks. And so Mother
Yasoda is saying, Krishna, and even the Krishna's friends are telling Krishna, why don't you relax? Let us hold the hill up for a little while. And they're all holding their sticks to the bottom of Govardhan Hill. Take it easy, Krishna. Let us do the work. Now this is a very, very wonderful activity going on, because it's explained that usually the residents of Vrindavan, they all have their own personal activities with Krishna. You know, the gopis, they have their activities with Krishna. And the cowherd boys, they have their own activities with Krishna in the fields, playing and running together. And the elderly residents of Vrindavan, Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj and the elderly residents, they also had their own activities with Krishna. But this is a special pastime, because here, all of the residents, the gopis, the cowherd boys, the parents, they're all coming together underneath the hill, and they're having a pastime together with Krishna underneath the hill of Vrindavan, of Govardhan. So this is an extraordinary event. And so this goes on for 7 days and 7 nights. Finally, Indra, he's been shooting down thunderbolts on Govardhan Hill. Hundreds and hundreds of thunderbolts. Nothing at all is disturbing the residents of Vrindavan. They're having a great time with Krishna underneath the hill. And finally, Indra and all of the clouds, they get so exhausted. They go away, all of the clouds are dissipated. They all go away. The sky becomes clear. The sun is shining in the distant sky, coming up from the horizon. Everyone is so happy. And Krishna, he tells all the residents, go back to your homes. Everything will be fine. And so at this time, Krishna puts down the hill exactly the way it was before. And then as the residents are leaving, guess what? Each one of the residents personally thanks Krishna. The devotees are throwing their hands and arms around Krishna, hugging him, thanking him again and again for saving them. And so we must also, in our own various trials and tribulations, we all have different trials and tribulations in our lives. But whatever is coming, the devotees are always thanking Krishna. And the way that the devotees thank Krishna is by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so the devotees, whatever happens, the good times or the trials and tribulations, even the Pandavas, they were Krishna's friends. They were Krishna's relatives. You think that Krishna made it easy for the Pandavas? No, he put them into so many trials and tribulations. And even here we see in the Krishna book, we see the residents of Vrindavan, they're also experiencing many trials and tribulations. This is a fact. But now, as the Srimad Bhagavatam closes, what is established is that whatever we do in the Kali Yuga, whatever calamities come, whatever happens in the Kali Yuga, we can rest assured that we will be present with Krishna by chanting this holy name of Krishna. by always hearing about Krishna, by talking about Krishna, and by remembering Krishna, all of the calamities can be dissipated in the Kali Yuga by this process of remembering and chanting and hearing about Krishna. So this is a very wonderful, wonderful time, a very wonderful opportunity. So we're here. We can all be very grateful. We're here in New Vrindaban that Prabhupada has blessed. And we're here on this such an extraordinary occasion, this great holiday that Krishna himself has he has manufactured this holiday. And so we're celebrating a holiday that Krishna has personally established 5,000 years ago. That's quite extraordinary. But I see it's getting late. I don't know. Go. Okay, so this is the time. We'll do a little circumambulation. Who will lead the chanting? We'll have a little circumambulation now. At 7 o'clock, the oddity will begin. We'll continue circumambulating the hill and chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your kind attention.